band called New Pornographers, one of my favorite bands. Their melodies are incredibly inventive. Elvis Costello, some of his stuff. I like really smart and inventive chord progressions, and
right,
not to the point where you kind of destroy the melody, or it's it takes a real skill to do that. I don't think he's there yet. I think a lot of their songs are predictable, but they're unforgettable to a lot of people. I mean, it works, obviously.
Right.
7,000 people were there, so
right. And certain people, I think, come to the point where they realize that they're probably just going to be from this point forward playing the hits.
Right.
And while they will still put out new music, they generally won't play it that much.
Right.
I think it was and looking at the set list, I think there was one new song between the two bands. Is that correct?
Right. Yeah, and then I guess you got to give those bands credit, but I guess I would do that if it meant making what they made on that on that tour. That's no small change. So now there are some bands that are like, well, I'm not a jukebox. We're not playing our hits. We're tired of them. We're going to play nothing but new stuff, and I just think that's wrong. It's bad. It's bad form. It's bad service, because your fans are your customers, and
right,
you should give them what they want. And most of the time, they want to hear their favorite stuff.
Right, and I'm sure we'll get into it for the umpteenth time, but because the show's next month. But Mark Knopfler's done it. He does not play much Dire Straits, although on this tour I know from looking at the set lists that he's playing a little bit more. But his audience, which is still very large, especially in Europe where he sells out arenas, they know that that's what's going to happen. I guess if you keep your following and these people show up and they fill up an arena and they know what's coming, I guess you can do that.
Yeah, and I guess my complaint with him is that every time I've seen him, it's been the same one or two Dire Straits songs. Like, I can see if he doesn't want to do more than one or two, but I wish he would change it up.
Right. Yeah, I don't think he. But we can get into that further, and I'm sure people are tired of hearing me talk about Mark Knopfler incessantly. But we'll look at some of the shows that are coming up here as the holidays and the summer heat up with Tim Finn from In Kansas City Magazine. Really fun conversation you had with Bob Walkenhorst, and you should explore that definitely on In Kansas City Magazine. It's always a great place to stop to set your concert list calendar and your show calendar if you like to get out and see some live music, which you should do more often. More coming up next.
More of Danny's Reasonably Irreverent podcast after this.
We're here with Joe Spiker, the president of Easton Roofing. And Joe, you worked for other companies in the construction industry. What inspired you to start your own company in Easton Roofing?
Well, Danny, when you are working for somebody else, you oftentimes don't get to see the project through from beginning to end, and you don't get the final control over the customer experience. And I wanted to build a place where people can come and get work done on their house and not have to worry about being treated the wrong way, and get a good customer service experience start to finish.
The company slogan is Where Integrity Matters. Why is that so particularly important to you?
Well, for us, what that means is treating each other with respect at work, treating our clients with respect, and making the right choice, especially when no one's looking. So when you're presented all the time as a contractor with choices that have to be made, are you going to make more money on this if you cut a corner? And we just wanted to make a place and a slogan that said to our people and to whoever is our customer, we're not going to do that. We're going to make the right choice regardless of profit.
Easton Roofing, where integrity matters. Sumner One is the company to make your office maximize efficiency. Their family of companies make up one of the largest independent dealers of office technology in the Midwest. They are proud to bring the best service and technology to top companies across the region. Sumner One can help your organization run more smoothly than ever. Sumner One printers, copiers, MFPs, managed print services, document management, infrastructure design, IT services, disaster recovery, and business continuity. Welcome to the one place where everything works. For more information, call Carl Little at 913-752-2256. I was duped, and I recommend you be next. For better or worse, the ultra-realistic impression of me sits now in my wife's office to spook her on a daily basis. So what is Doob? D-O-O-B. It's the keepsake of a lifetime, a 3D-generated, incredibly lifelike figurine. 66 cameras take an image at exactly the same moment in any pose, and state-of-the-art 3D technology transforms that into exact replicas of you, anyone you know or love, a pet, whomever is close to your heart. Create lifetime memories with a Doob. Visit their Facebook page at Doob 3D Kansas City, or better yet, see their incredible creations. Visit their location down on the plaza in the heart of it at 231 West 47th Street in KC Mo. Doob, be next.
For many people, a family law case will be one of the most difficult experiences in their life. The law firm of Kenneth McRae will help you through it. Personal and effective help from Ken in concert with you will develop a unique strategy for your unique case. As Ken always says, divorce can be civil law, not civil war. Licensed in Kansas? Visit McRaeLawOffice.com or call 913-972-4765.
Back with Tim Finn on Arts and Lifestyles Wednesday, presented by the Exit Room of Lee's Summit. Let's jump on a couple of shows that we need to catch your ear right now if you're hearing this before 7 o'clock or so. And the shows are tonight at Starlight, The Head and the Heart, a Irish band, I believe, in the vein of some others that maybe you like. Or
they sort of came around when there was that like neo-folk rock revival, the Mumford & Sons, the Lumineers. Right. So there's a lot of acoustic instruments. The music is pretty upbeat, jolly. There's a lot of vocals at the same time. We call them gang vocals, like 3 or 4 people singing. Right. Maybe in harmonies, maybe not. They're all singing the main melody. Some foot stomping, and so they came through that wave, which just started back in like 2000 and I don't know, 9 or 10.
Right.
And there are several of them, and I find it entertaining.
Yeah. I like the genre. Mm-hmm. I mean, just as an offside, I can probably go listen to about anything with a fiddle in it.
Yeah.
An Irish style fiddle. Mm-hmm. I love that music. It doesn't bore me. So that, but for some people, it doesn't necessarily work.
Right. I think some of the resentment for these bands is that they're live action role playing, because they dress in like these period clothes and they wear, whatever fedora or a bowler hat. And so I think that puts some people off, but I like it. It's not necessarily super original, but like you say, if there's like a fiddle and an accordion in the same band, I love it because I love Cajun music and I really like that combination. So yeah, and they're like that. I mean, it'll be a fun time. Their music's really it's superficial, but it's easy to enjoy it. And I haven't heard the new record, but Rolling Stone said it's their poppiest record ever, so that bodes well.
And also I guess I would say fiddle played well. So for people who are looking for that type of thing, I can always recommend the Irish Fest down around Crown Center. That's really fun, and you'll see some people that maybe. You'll discover a band or two on a main stage that you probably haven't heard of, but you may want to hear of them after that. Right. So that's always a fun take.
Yes, and they always bring in a nice variety. It's not all Celtic oriented.
No, and they have several stages and actually little tents for smaller acts. So and there's plenty of beer. So that's a good thing. At Knuckleheads tonight, always such a great venue. The Blasters play. Only one member of the Blasters still around, but it's an important member.
Yeah, it's Phil Alvin. He and his brother Dave started them back in the early 80s, and it's very retro. It's kind of rockabilly, rootsy, great guitars. It's very basic. It's sort of meat and potatoes rock, but they're really good at it. And the Super Suckers are on there. They're from I think Tucson, Arizona, and they like dismember country music and give it this sort of garage rock feel. It's charmingly a little deranged or sloppy. I like it though. They have some really good songs, drinking songs or hangover songs or something like that. It's fun. And then Wayne Hancock's also on the bill. He does a few genres like rockabilly, western swing, country. This is like a 3 headliner lineup for me. That's what it looks like.
Right. And also Blues Traveler comes to the Crossroads on Saturday night, and they've been around for a long, long time, and they're sort of what you'd call them a stage band is more than even maybe a recording band, I guess.
Yeah, they're a jam band. I mean, they get a lot of
Right.
Bands who like, Fish and Leftover Salmon and bands like that. Although, they don't have the true jam band mentality because their shows are right around, 100 minutes, 105 minutes, and they don't play a ton of songs. They don't jam out for 10 minutes on a song either, not regularly anyway. So, they've been around. I was surprised it's been almost 30 years. Because I remember when they sort of broke in, I guess it was, I saw them at Liberty Hall in the mid-90s. So, and it just seemed like it was an odd band because the main guy plays the blues harp, and you don't see that very often.
Right.
And they went through some tough. He almost died in a motorcycle wreck. He almost died of a heart attack, and then their bass player died all within 3 years. So they survived, and I'm when I see them playing them, I was surprised that they're still around because
Right. They sort of fit into a theme of this particular podcast, which is a band with one really well-known song.
Right. Yeah. For me, yeah.
Right.
Because they're fun live. Yeah. They're okay live. But like you said, I don't think I've ever owned or played one of their recordings.
No.
It's just not. It's a little too formal. I mean, it's blues. It's a little folky and jammy.
Yeah, the name of their band is inaccurate.
Right.
I would say I don't think there's a blues band in much of any way.
No, I mean there's some blues licks on the.
I mean everything's sort of a lot of everything in rock music, somewhat based in the blues, but
right.
I mean this isn't.
Yeah, they're sort of blues light.
I guess that's.
I guess. I mean, but there is a folkiness to them too. It's
right.
Not,
that's what
it's
I
mean.
Not
electric blues, but
right.
Maybe a little country blues.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think they're innocuous but fun.
That's sort of a theme here. I think. On Saturday at Knuckleheads, sort of a blast from the past, and another band that kind of fits into the not trained Goo Goo Dolls. They have been very successful for a long, long time, but at their height, a very short period was the Motels with Martha Davis, and they were a thing for a big thing for a short time.
Really, maybe 2.5, 3 years at the most. Yeah, I remember them from the early days of MTV, and they're from L.A. and they sort of fit in the new wave, but I don't really think of them as. I think of the new wave bands, like the Knack or other bands like that. But she's got an amazing voice, and still does apparently because I read some live reviews. And they started way before they started like in the 70s, and there were various iterations of them, and then she joined, and then they broke up or quit, and then they started again in the 80s, and had those 2 big albums, a couple really big hits. And then, like by '88, they were just kind of gone.
And she just went off and
she did some
thing.
Solo stuff, and then they, I don't know if they ever formally broke up, but there's, I think, one other original member is with her, and then they've had just dozens of personnel changes along the way. But I think this group has been together for since 15, so almost 4 years. So. I read 2 live reviews, and they were both really positive. So, and if she can still sing, then it's going to be great.
Yeah, she has a great. She does have a great voice. Just as another aside, probably talk to him about this band in some regard, but basically a band that only has 2 of the members around. The other day, we were listening to one of my favorite songs, "Middle of the Road," which is maybe my favorite rock and roll song of all time, by the Pretenders. And my wife just turned to me and she goes, "She's got the best rock music." Female voice ever. And I said, and my wife's an opera singer, so she likes to judge voices, and I think that's maybe true.
Yeah, she and Joan Jett, I think, are probably my 2 favorite women vocalists. I've seen them twice, and recently as maybe 13 or 14. Pretenders came to the Uptown. She was fabulous.
Yeah, I've only seen video concerts of them. I wish I had seen them. Many of their songs are among my favorites. She's just a badass on stage. She acts like a male frontman, really, and now she has blonde hair.
I didn't know
at
that.
times, yeah.